Hello and welcome back to Titwell Live, and I'm joined by Edward Farrell, where we're going to be looking at the Barbarian Invasion port on iPhone and Android coming soon.
Yep.
So please introduce yourself for our lovely audience at home.
Okay, so my name's Edwin. I work at Farrell, and I head up the design and production teams. And this is sort of Barbarian Invasion. We've already done Rome for iPhone, so this is the expansion, and we've expanded it, but we've also sort of added in a few new little tweaks and improvements, as always. So we'll be going through those as well.
Yeah, beautiful. So we've got an iPhone in front of us right now.
Yes.
And to be honest, I haven't actually gotten a chance to play this port on iPhone yet, and it is very confusing seeing that game that you used to think back in the day was such a task to run on your PC is now on this tiny machine. Yeah. But so what are we going to be having a look at today then? How are we going to be showing this brand new piece of content off?
Well, what I thought we'd do is we'll pick a faction and start playing through, and I'll sort of go through a few of the different features and stuff, and if people have got questions of different things they want to know, I can answer those.
You got a specific faction that you want to play as?
I thought I'd pick one of the non-Roman factions, slightly easier, and also it shows off a little bit of like hordes and some of the new features that came in with Barbarian Invasion. So I think that'll be sort of a good way to start.
Sweet. Well, let's jump in then. Let's have a look.
Okay. So we can start a new campaign. One of the things which Rome fans might notice is you scroll through the factions. There's a heck of a lot more than normal. We have 18 playable factions in this, as opposed to the original 10 existing ones. So, like Romano-British. Let's just start over here. I think there we go. So yeah, we've got like Romano-British, Slavs, Burgundy, Lombardy, Ostrogoths, Berbers, and Celts. I think that's all of them. Nice. But basically, all of the emerging factions from the original game we've added in, and we've also, if you haven't noticed, we've finished stuff off. So although you could play them with mods, we've gone and put all of the descriptions in, the little bits of missing artwork, things like that. So they're a fully featured faction.
It's nice to be able to go back to an old project and sort of revamp it a little bit as well.
Yeah, exactly. And 18 factions means that like you can play this sort of to death, because the emerging factions are actually quite hard. So if you've played through sort of the Goths and then you play through again as like the Romans, which is harder because you're trying to defend a falling apart empire, if you've succeeded at both of those, the emergent factions are kind of like the next step, and they're kind of quite tricky. I was trying to play earlier as the Romano-British, and just taking over your first couple of settlements is a tricky business. Once you get going, it becomes a bit easier, but it's quite a fun challenge once you get a bit further in.
So who should we pick then? Who should we jump in as?
I was going to go and start up at the top with the Huns, because it's kind of the classic place to start.
It is their sort of their time to shine, really, isn't it?
Yep. So people were asking about price. Barbarian Invasion will come out at $4.99 in the UK, $4.99 in the States, and €5.49. So it's basically that tier price on iOS.
Yeah, and I think we can talk about the release dates as well, actually, can't we? I'm just going to grab that bit of info up now.
Yes.
So we can confirm that this is coming out on Thursday, the 9th of May for iPhone, and then Android will be releasing in June as well.
Yes.
So if you are looking for a new challenge, maybe on your commute, then you've got that coming up very, very soon. Have we got any fans in chat who have been playing Rome 1 to this day and are looking for a new way of tackling that? Because this is the time for you to shine.
Yep. So it's just the help screens, and let's get going. So this is something we pioneered for the iPhone release that we've now got in Barbarian Invasion as well. It's worth mentioning that all of these help systems have also been added to the iPad version and updates. So if you bought the iPad version last year, then you'll be able to now sort of get all of these improvements and updates. So I'm not going to go through all of the help because sort of, there's not enough time. But basically, it'll take you through how everything works, and also we have like nice little features where you can like hold your finger on something, and if you hold it for long enough, it'll pop up with the help system as well. So while you're playing, if you want to know what something is, just hold your finger down over it, wait a second or so, and help pops up.
Lovely.
So it'll pop up a little bit near the beginning because we've got the tutorial mode on, but then we'll probably turn it off. So here we go. There you go. So it's explaining all of the pinch zooms and things like that. So if we go into, there you go, holding down the help. Let's go and select a unit. Let's get on with it. So
what's our starting situation like?
So you start off with surrounding an existing faction. So we need to work out, do we want to attack these guys and take stuff over? Yeah, let's not have the help. So let's go and
back them up.
Yeah,
reinforcement action.
Reinforcing is always quite a good idea. As you might have noticed that these two, I haven't actually selected these, both are captains. So I need to have a general in there as well. So it's always the best idea. Right, let's. So this should be an easy win. So there's the autocomplete, but I think we should be able to just easily
jump into
battle,
zoom around,
and let's have a play around.
I think this is going to be the because it seems like there's a few people in chat who haven't actually sort of triggered to the fact that we have released this on phone now.
Yep.
And this is going to be a sort of a big moment for them to see the battles realised on their iPhone. It's
yeah, I mean the base game of Rome Total War is now out on iOS and Android.
And that's available right now. So if there is anyone in chat who wants to try it out for themselves, you can grab that straight away.
Yeah. So, just in terms of how this game's playing, the actual number of units and the graphic settings, it's basically the original game. If you've got like a modern phone, I mean this is actually an iPhone 8 or the iPhone XR and things like that, you'll be running at maximum settings, native resolution. So you're playing at sort of over 1080p or higher on these phones. Yeah. And it also goes all the way back to an iPhone 5S. If you haven't upgraded for a while, you can still have a play. Right, let's so you can wait, change the time of day as always, and then go into deployment mode. So you can zoom out, and then it'll take you through the different ways of selecting units. You can use your finger to draw around stuff, and then it shows you how to move and attack. So instead of doing it that way, I'll just so I can just select these guys.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
And then you can do stuff like display, which is a new feature. It wasn't in the original Rome, but you can actually pop up it. This is a bit like Warhammer 2, or more modern games, or and it pops up your information bar there. So these guys don't have any artillery, so there's no artillery bar, but there will be a bar for how many arrows you've got left, things like that. You can also put them into groups, so it's the same as actual game. So we can create a couple of different groups, and then let's put here we go. These guys are
so you can see the ammunition cavalry.
The ammunition cavalry, so we can probably move those guys over here.
NoNoz73 is asking when this is going to be available on iWatch.
It was a challenge to get it shrunken down onto a phone. I think a watch is going to be a little bit tricky. We've had a similar joke of could you do something, and but there's absolutely nothing you'd really want to do on a watch apart from maybe make it shake to say that you're losing. But it's it did take a while through. All right, so as you can see, you can zoom out a lot further than the original. Yeah. The original game. We also added in half speed.
Oh, you've got the slow-mo now as well.
Yeah, so it's got slow-mo, which came in with I think Med 2, so it was only a game later. But there's a lot of the little quality of life things are the things we've been adding into Barbarian Invasion, is just slowly improving the little things that sort of the later Total Wars do, and you kind of expect on newer games. So
it's nice to be able to rejuvenate the old titles with that sort of quality of life improvement every now and again.
Yeah. So let's select these guys. I mean, we don't really need very much tactics. So if you put 2 fingers down, you can actually draw, and let me just hide the viewpoint. So you put 2 fingers down, you get these little glowing circles under your fingers. If I let go, there you go, and they'll go and send off. And then we can speed things back up. Let's go and select these guys and just... Or you can just go and double tap and tell them to go somewhere. Or you can go and just select a bunch of units like this.
So you must be a bit of a master at the touch controls now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's... I think that the big thing about the touch controls is just getting used to the slightly different ways of doing things. So there are things... how you group units, thinking about that. But yeah, I think one of the really clever things is like being able to draw paths. So with these units, you can literally, I want them to go like that.
Yeah, lovely.
And that's something that you can't necessarily do on the original game because of the waypoint system. I mean, you could slowly plug it out. So one of the advantages is that, say, if you've got cavalry and you want to attack, pull back, and then attack again. So that is really actually almost easier on the touch device.
Cycle charges sort of
so you can get
already,
so you can just go and tell it to go in, go out. So there are little things like that which make things easier. Another thing you might notice here is we've got these units going to loose formation, but you notice we've actually got range markers, which was something again the original game didn't have. Let's go and bring up the map. So they're all just cowering in the middle.
Which is fair enough.
So we've also got little things like a select all, select none button down here, which is kind of a quick and easy feature. Right, let's just get these guys, and I think for this it's probably just quicker just to go in and just batter them, to be honest, because they'll probably run away, overwhelming force. So let's...
you show off that slow-mo now, so that should be cool.
Yeah, let's go down and zoom in.
So there you go. If you ever wanted to see a Testido walking up in slow motion but never got the chance in Rome 1, then now you've got it. Just grab it from the Play Store.
Yeah. And one of the things I think even sometimes the stream doesn't show that well is the fact that sort of because it's running at native resolution on a phone, everything looks really sort of pin sharp, crisper, and pin sharp. It's definitely sort of, it's amazing how on a small screen all of those, if you run the original game with maximum settings, everything looks crisp. We also went through and you might notice the entire UI was re-illustrated, so all of the icons, buttons, the unit cards, so you can do things like that. Just if you've got smaller screen size, you just flick up and you can make scale it up and then flick them back down again.
Yeah, that's very nice.
And so I think we're they're just kind of cowering there. I'm just going to wait for them to, let's just speed things up a little bit. So there's little things like if you tap on the scrolling help, it pops up, and another little thing which we added is like color-coded information.
Yeah.
It's kind of a standard in the later Turtle Wars, but putting it in there so you can instantly see what's going on without having to sort of read everything, which was the original Rome. And again, it's just, there's been 10 years worth of, or actually 15 years worth of improvements in Total War games. So a lot of the things we did for this mobile version is sort of to both bring it to the phone and add in all of those really nice quality of life features.
So what's so obviously we released. You said it was a year ago now. Rome Total War released on mobile. What's the new improvements that have been added with this expansion?
Well, with this expansion, we've gone and added in. Oh, there we go. So the big things we did was we improved the help further. We got a lot of people playing the game, and sort of I think one of the trickier things they've had is just sort of it's learning how different things work on the phone, and also we haven't removed a single feature from this game, so it's been a lot of focus has been on making it so it's, if you don't know what to do, you hold your finger, you go and bring up the help, you kind of get help through, because I think a lot of people sometimes, especially with mobile phone games, you're kind of used to playing less complicated games, and I think the Total War fan base really want to play. You want to play Barbarian Invasion. You don't want to play like a cut down version of Barbarian Invasion. Exactly. So a lot of the work we've been doing since then has been like optimizing the game. So when we just released this version of Barbarian Invasion, the iPad version hadn't been patched for a while, and we have from the original base ROM, we've probably improved or fixed or patched about conservatively about 1,000 new features or bug fixes or performance improvements. So when this game originally came out on the iPad, it was running in OpenGL. It's now been optimized for Metal, which is Apple's new graphics library language, and that makes everything a lot faster. Yeah. So you don't need to know the technical stuff, but basically what it means is it runs quicker and it uses less battery.
And you can see when we hit the fast forward there as well, you can get like some really silky frame rates as well, which is really nice.
Yeah. So because I think a lot of people sort of sit there and kind of worry about but will it kill my battery in sort of 10 minutes? Yeah. And we deliberately try and make it so no, it won't. We also actually have, if I just end the battle here. So here we go. We just got the standard, all of the information there. So again, it's little things like putting stuff across two screens. So if you're the kind of person who actually wanted to go and break down where your casualties were, exactly. You can flick through all of that. So a lot of the stuff we're doing is all that information is there, but sort of the stuff that only a few people would like to have a look at it is like hidden in a second screen. So all of your important info is in one place. And then sort of all of the really nice little nitty-gritty detail is further down. So we can decide to sack the settlement or occupy it.
Should we leave it up to the chat? Get a little interactive in here.
Okay. So
should we sack or occupy the settlement, guys? That's straight away a big sack from DK Drew. No time wasted whatsoever. He wants that cash money.
We're barbarians.
We are barbarians, it's true.
Oh, one sack, one occupy.
That's two sacks there.
Oh.
Always sack. Yeah,
always sack.
I think it's going to be a sack.
Alright, that's it. Burn it to the ground.
True Hun way there.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, we'll have to occupy at some point. Can't finish the game without occupying.
Well, we've got plenty of forces to come back with it.
So here's a sort of the world map. Mm-hmm. Again, it's just like repainted assets. So I think what we found is a lot of the stuff we want to improve it. So when you go back and play the iPhone version, it's how you think the original game was, but when you play the original game, you realise there's loads of things with low resolution.
Sort of fulfilling that nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of you have all the benefits of the nostalgia, but none of the sort of the low end.
The drawbacks.
Yeah, low end graphics, right. So, I guess the question now is, that's another thing, is like if you notice how far we can zoom out. We also have little things like the, this is your faction info screen. So we actually have a faction summary, which the original game didn't have. Mm-hmm. Feels kind of strange, but there you go. So we've added this in now, so you can just get the general information you need to know. The other big one, which we made sure was still there, is Roam Shell. So we actually have a whole bunch of help, and this game will come with help tutorials on YouTube, which you can watch, which will be going live with the game. And our most popular little help snippet video is how to use Roam Shell. I kid you not, it's got like 10 times more views than everything else, because everybody sort of wants to be able to use Roam Shell. And I don't even think most people don't particularly use it just like for cheating per se, but it's like deliberately trying to set things up, or you might want to go and just something weird's happened. You want to go and try and set up a slightly harder or slightly trickier way of doing things. Or sometimes you actually just want to have the fun of smashing your way across the world without caring about budget.
Yeah.
So
Denando just went in the chat saying @_money 40,000.
You see, we've actually tweaked Roam Shell. So Roam Shell now has show me the money. So you don't have to go and do that whole add money multiple times. And then we also added process CQ and process RQ, which existed in the original game. You had to type the settlement name. We added the word all. So now, instead of having to process every single one of your settlements, we just said, couldn't we just have an all?
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, if you're going to bring up the Rome shell, you want to build.
Well, yeah.
You might as well. We also actually have little gestures. So if you flick down with 2 fingers, it's like using scroll. So you can scroll down and scroll through all your previous commands.
Nice.
And then you just hit done and hide it. Boom, there you go, it's gone. So that's it does make the game a heck of a lot more fun. Like, sometimes, I must admit, I've played through the game so many times now. I think I've making the mobile versions, we've been working the mobile versions for about 4 years now, of on and off with different design ideas. And sometimes you just want to go and take over the world as like Britannia. So I just give myself a whole pile of cash, and then the fun is just seeing whether or not you can just go across. You know, I refuse to buy anyone out, but basically I'm happy to build troops and basically just slush fund my way across. Yeah. And sometimes if you're on the tube or the train and you don't have to think too hard, but you just want to go across.
You can set your own house rules.
Yeah, exactly. Set your own house rules. I mean, Olifants are so much fun, just watching those massive, oversized elephants smash their way across. Yes, Denando. Nothing beats an Olifant. Yeah, exactly. Yes, we did move the notifications around. The reasons for that were just buttons, and some phones, especially on Android, have got little notches and things. So we set up the UI so that it always uses all of the screen and goes around the notch. Yeah. So the UI is smart and will decide what to do. Nice. So and you can also actually I can't do it now because the phone's connected to the stream for all you guys, but you can actually just turn your phone upside down, and then the phone will spin round and readjust even if you've got a notch. Yeah. So that sounds really simple, but it turned out to be a lot trickier than
it took a lot more work than it sounds, I'm guessing. Yeah.
So here's just a little small thing. If you tap on the date, it just quickly tells you your battery level.
Yeah, perfect.
So
looking a little low there.
Yes. Lots of play testing before.
I think we do actually. If we need to, we can grab a plug for you, pop you down, because we've got some extensions down there.
Yeah, I think we're all good. Right. So where should we go next? I think we should probably have a couple of our guys start just. So one of the things which we added to this game from the original was the original game, when you selected people, you just dragged it with your finger and then hit go. Due to popular demand and just play testing, we now add double tap as well. Yeah. So you just double tap and say where you want to go. We also slightly extended how far you can actually travel. You can tell someone to travel. So the original game, I think, sort of ended about sort of just into the purple, but we've now added it, so it's extended, so you can actually get people to do more epically long journeys. Yeah. It still has a limit, but it's just a little bit more. Again, it's just sort of things that
there's no sort of quality of life improvements.
Yeah, exactly. It's just those little tiny things. Well, maybe not so tiny things. Yeah. Other stuff that we've added in the pause menu is we've added a whole bunch of stuff here. So we know that most people want to do stuff like camera tilt. So we now have manual camera tilt on and off, including inside the campaign map. You can invert your cameras. We've got a whole bunch of stuff of sticky status info. So I'll turn that on and then see if we can... Oh, battery saver mode as well. So we can always turn that on and show that off if we start running out of... So if I return to game, so if you have a look, there we go, we now have sticky status on, so all the units and everybody have their names floating up, and it disappears again. Yeah. So I know that a lot of people, when we turned it off, because it just gets quite messy on a small mobile screen, but it's, let's have a quick look at the news. So it's explaining how news works, so paganism. There we go. So there we go. So along the bottom, here's another thing. We actually added it so you can delete all of your news in one go. So I don't know if any of you guys have been playing Endgame Rome, but you just had this stream of news coming down the right side. You had to like just click to close it. What we've added is you can decide to keep or burn a single bit of news, or you can actually just go through and just burn them all, and they're all gone.
Yeah.
So that allows you to keep the one piece of news you might want, like a Senate mission or something like that. That's also one of the other things which it won't be in this faction, but if you're playing as the Romans and you've got the Senate, you can get missions up there.
Yeah.
And again, that was one of the things I always used to forget, was what exactly was I asked to do before? Okay, so we've got a spy here. Let's
do some scouting.
Do some scouting. See what's going on over here.
So Tommy Az is asking when it'll be out. So we did just announce earlier, but you might have missed. So Barbarian Invasion itself, obviously Rome Total War on mobile is out right now.
Yep.
So you can go and grab that right now if you want. But Barbarian Invasion itself will be out on the 9th of May, which is a Thursday for iPhone.
Yep.
And then Android will be coming this June.
Yep. And an iPad, it's already out. So if you have an iPad, you can start playing now.
Wayback Machine activated.
Yes.
Hello, Rainfire. How you doing?
Yeah. Yes, it is it's a fun bit of nostalgia. It's kind of... Yeah. Right, let's...
The top ticker bar is giving me sort of like reminiscence of Abe's Odyssey. You know, the little adverts at the top of the screen.
Yep. So, I mean, again, it was one of those things of we just wanted to get a... it's how do you fit loads of information into a small area?
So Rainfire is saying it won't run on his phone. I'm interested to know what phone he's running because you said it goes all the way back to a 5S, right?
Yeah, it goes all the way back to an iPhone 5S. You need to be running iOS 12, but that's pretty much it. So it's quite a few years ago now. I think 5S, 6, 6S, 7, 8X. So 6 years, I think, roundabout. Yeah. Adopting man of the hour captains, they always tend to be better than family members, I found. One of the things which we have added in this mode, or made it a little bit more obvious, I'll see if I can, let's see if we can find a family member to do this with.
My liege, mighty general. Onward.
Once I get those guys close, we'll see what we can do. But one of the features we added was being able to swap your retinues between different generals, and that existed in the original game, but it was kind of a tricky thing of you had to drag one onto the other and everything else. So what we've added in this game is you actually have a little bit more detail on what exactly your retinue contains.
Yeah.
And also we color code everything so it shows you your positives and your negatives, and we've also expanded some of the information you saw. So before it would tell you that this makes it helps improve your tax, but it didn't never really tell you how much. So now we kind of have an expanded panel when you click on the person, so you can actually see what impact it has.
Yeah, the actual effect that they have.
So that just helps you make decisions on what to do where. I also found, especially on Barbarian Invasion, if you're playing as the Romans, one of the interesting things is when you start as the Roman faction, you often have a whole bunch of generals and governors, and if you have a look at their skill sets, they're basically all messed up. And your best general has loads of retinue that's actually good for looking after settlements and vice versa. So one of the first... Here's a handy tip. If you're playing as the Romans, to make the game a bit easier, go through all of your generals, have a look at what information they've got, and then you can actually get them to meet up and swap retinues, and you can actually end up with a really good general with really good perks and a really good governor with really good perks. And yeah, I found that sometimes turns it from sort of feeling like it's almost impossible on hard to being a fun challenge, because the challenge is to do all of that swapping while the world is falling apart,
exactly,
and sort of go down and go back up again.
Yeah, I'm seeing at least one person who didn't actually know that was possible in the original game.
yeah. It was one of the interesting things of like when we went through and did the design for the Rome and Barbarian Invasion and everything. We were constantly, because we were trying to make sure every feature worked, we were constantly finding these little hidden things. So again, it was just expanding that feature out to make it work a little bit better. Let's just end turn, so I can see. The other thing you might have noticed is actually it won't happen on this one, but if you pick a one of the emerging factions, your start date will naturally be later in the game because it's when your faction emerged. So sometimes that obviously makes things trickier because some of the original factions have already moved on and expanded. So you tend to drop into a bit of a tricky world.
So do you is that like a pre-generated start position again, or will it actually sort of?
It will generate some of what was happening beforehand, so it'll always be subtly different with those ones.
Okay, cool.
If you yes. So basically, every single you still have the maximum stack that you did on the original game. The one difference is the maximum unit size is bigger than the PC.
So how much higher can we go?
So I think you can go to 240. You can have a maximum of 240 units in a single card. Whereas before,
that's one of the crazy things as well. It's not just the fact that we're running a game that used to be quite like a technological sort of milestone on an iPhone, but it's also the fact that we're running at native resolutions as well. So it's in a higher fidelity than it was in the first place, and also you've also upped the unit scale as well. So it's actually it's running in a lot higher sort of more ascended state than it was in the first place as well. Yeah, which is pretty cool.
So this is the standard, moving units over. You just select the ones you want and move them around. In this case, we blatantly have one really good general here, so we should take advantage.
Sire, mighty general, mighty general.
And who else should we move?
Mighty general.
There we go.
Yeah, looking pretty strong now.
Merging armies. Mighty general. Move out.
So the question is, because we've got an hour and a half now to play through, so we should set ourselves a little goal. Really, what's the big thing that we're building towards here? Because we've got plenty of land to conquer around us.
Yeah, I guess it. So if we're looking here, which way do we want to sort of try and go in the period of time we've got? We could sort of try and head towards Rome, though without building up first it would probably be a bit tricky, although we have got Rome shell, so we could probably take over a couple of settlements and
we could definitely
blast our way across.
If we start going down the coast, we could definitely start moving towards Greece, I think. That might be quite an interesting...
Okay, let's try that. I think we'll probably have to occupy at some point so we can start. Okay, let's start by knocking this place over.
Yeah, set up our base of operations.
Okay, so that's a pretty small garrison. Right, that means we can probably... Yep, let's go for it.
These guys are pretty small as a faction anyway, aren't they? As far as I'm aware.
Yep. Let's just... there we go, clear victory.
Right, we've got our base now.
Right, so let's occupy the settlement.
Oh,
we have a bunch of them. Yeah, that's exactly how I tend to play. Is try and get one or two generals who basically have all the best units.
Yeah, your Robocops.
Yeah, and they just smash their way up, and then I kind of have the serfs slowly take over.
Yeah.
And in terms of like governing, it was always you've always wanted to have people with the best governing skills on the further away from your capital. So I always used to play as like in this one I was playing earlier as the Romano Celts and things like that, and also Romano British. And you slowly have to move your capital city down, else you end up with sort of a huge sort of the problem of you're so far away from your capital city that you get rioting and things like that. Robin Broberg, it's Thursday, this Thursday.
Yeah, this Thursday. Oh, I didn't realise it's like 4 days.
Yeah.
So this Thursday, it'll be available on iPhone, and then in the June of this year, it will be coming out on Android as well.
Oh, the infamous Siege Tower bug. Sieges are a lot better. I think there's still ways of getting it to get caught in 3D in the 3D space. It's one of those ones of if you ever see it while playing, the best thing to do is just send us contact support. We've actually got a built-in support system, and it sends an email, and what it'll do is actually it'll attach your current save to the email, and then just say, in my current email, in my current save, I attacked this place and I got a glitch there, and then we'll look into it. I think sort of since we've released, as I said, we've sort of fixed and tried to improve all these little things as they go. So if you do find something, let us know, and we can look into it. But in general, sieging is better. We also did a bit of pathfinding improvements as well, so that we could use finger controls. So in general, all that stuff should be a lot better. But if you do manage to find an edge case where something goes wrong, let us know. We've tried to make it as easy as possible on the support side as well, so that we can constantly patch. I think we've updated the original Rome about 10 times now since it's been released, with just little quality of life fixes, and sometimes bigger things like adding in the range markers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
what would you say is the most sort of for you, like the most important change that you've made?
I would probably say in the 3D battles, when we added in the slow-mo and the range markers and the floating info panels above the units, because that's so useful on the modern games that you kind of you almost feel like I was sure it was there and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then I think exposing on the campaign map, exposing and be able to flip your different generals and be able to move the retinues around. That was such a cool feature that so many people go, oh, I've played 1,000 hours. I never knew it was there. Yeah. And it just felt really great of just saying, here it is. Like it's always been there, just bringing it up to the level. So, okay. Right. I think I agree. That's more play.
There's always the comment we get every single week. Let's talk more play. And we've definitely got some things to look out for as well on our eastern border there, just across the river.
Right, that's got enough there. I think we had sent this guy up here, but I think it's probably a bad idea if we're trying to take over let's try and go down this way.
Yeah, and like we said, if anyone does want to try this out, the base game is available right now on Google Play and on the iPhone store.
Yep. So I can turn manual tilt on, which allows me to do this.
Nice.
Which again is not actually in the original Rome, but I quite like having manual tilt on, so you can play a little bit more like top down.
Yeah, kind of like the tactical map from more recent titles.
Mighty General, sire, forward. Mighty General.
So I think we just need to go and merge a few of these guys to get going. Right.
Splitting the troops.
Yeah, it is available on iPad as well, as Sharpbone said, so if you prefer a bigger screen so that you've got a bit more room to play around with. But it seems like there's been a lot of work done into utilising the smaller screen spaces on the phones as much as possible.
Yeah, so a lot of the UI changes we've made are very specific for iPhone, so it took us sort of about a year of thinking about it. So here we go, this is a settlement screen. So this is completely different from both iPad and the desktop, but it allows you to go and have a look at different things. One of the key things I'd just mention now if you're playing is if you see a little plus, that means there's actually additional buttons. If you hold your finger down, you get an extra button. So this one here is locating the position of the settlement, but there's also ones like making something a capital city, abandoned settlement, going back to a horde, more trade information. So again, it's all there in detail, and if you put your finger over stuff, it shows you what the benefits are to all the different bits and bobs. It's got all the standard stuff. So here we go. If we have a look at the governor's info, I was talking about this earlier. It's all now nicely color coded, and there's your retinue, your command info, and there's the extra boost. So as you can see, this guy's got a -2 on unrest. And some line of sight bonuses, so you can actually see what the bonuses are, and what your retinue. So in this case, scout adds +1 to command when ambushing and 2 to line of sight. So that's quite a handy one, but that's not what you want for a general, for a governor. Right.
So Sharkbone asking if it's going to come to Android. It is in June, and as you said, the base game's available now. Can one gift this game to someone? I think there is a gift option in the in both of the game stores for
yes, yeah. There's
so you've got a special someone you want to send it over to.
Yeah. You can send it to someone as a gift. I think in iOS you can buy as a gift or something, and then it asks you to fill in their email address and everything in it. They get a little email with like someone sent you the gift, personal message and stuff. So yeah. Right. Let's just end turn. See how we get on.
End turn times are pretty zippy as well, actually, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean it's amazing compared to how the original game.
Yeah, I remember being about 15 and watching them sort of cycle through for quite a long time.
Yeah,
on my very old PC.
It really did sort of blow my mind how fast things get. I think the latest iPad can literally sit there at 60 or even 120 frames a second at more or less 4K resolution on Mac settings, which even the Windows version kind of struggles to do that, or the Mac version. Crazy. Yeah, it's. But I mean, this game was designed when there wasn't a dual processor. Was something that you only saw in a server department. So things have moved on. I think some Android phones now have got like 6 cores. So. Right, let's
keep yawning this morning, I'm not sure why. I think we've had a bank holiday weekend and suddenly my brain just turned off.
Yeah. Just sort of trying to get everybody go down this way so we can sort of go down the coast.
Yeah, you've got a lot of forces to look after as that.
Yeah, you do start with a lot. You've got to merge them and sort things out. So yeah, if you bought it on an iOS device, you need to buy it again on Android because they're separate platforms. And
yeah, same as if you were to buy an Xbox game and a PS4 game.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Let's just.
I think one of my favourite things is just revisiting the soundtrack as well. It's such a good soundtrack in this game.
Yeah,
I often use it for whenever we're playing like a board game or something. I'll pop it in the background for a bit of dramatic effect.
Yeah, it's amazing because I mean the original audio was like such a high quality the first time around that, especially with headphones on, it's really nice. You get the sort of the little sort of what is it? Some sort of string. And when it changes when something big's about to kick off as well.
Sire, onward! Out of moves, great lord. Orders! Orders! Move out!
So what I'll do here is just move this guy in so we can just quickly. Oh. So as you can see here, if you have two generals near each other, you can just tap on this button. Here you go, and you can swap retinues. So you just this guy is a really good general. He's probably a decent governor, but torturer is good for public security. Influence, command management. I think that's influence. Let's move the scout. Ooh, move the scout this way. Right. So now, well, he's currently the governor, but he's going to move out. Has got all of the good things for being a general, and here, a torturer is actually good for public standing. So therefore, we now have. As you can see here, the little pluses, sorry, the little arrows up, mean that he's got stuff modifying.
Yeah.
Which makes that side better. So you can have a look at this guy here. So let's go and move some people out of here. So one of the other options here is if you tap and hold, it has a merge button. So what we've done here is made the merge button a smart merge button. So by that, I don't know if people knew, but Rome, every single unit, actual individual soldier inside your different units has their own experience.
Yeah.
So the experience isn't of the 66 different cavalry units here. The experience information is, it adds up each single cavalry member, and that's the overall experience. So when we hit merge, what it does is it has a look at all of the troops that you've selected, and then does a merge. But what it does is it does it in order of experience. So what you'll end up with is all of your crack troops from all of your different units will be merged into your crack troop unit, and then your newbies will be merged with other newbies.
Yeah.
So if you manually do it, you can do it how you want, but you get a nice little gradient. So you don't end up with that problem of having 10 crack units in each different unit. You've got to remember to merge all of those before recruiting more, and it was just a bit of a pain. So again, it's just a quick button, especially on mobile, makes things a little bit quicker.
Yeah, really nice.
Right, so let's see if we can merge those. Right, let's leave a few guys behind. And
No more moves, sire. Mighty general.
so as you can see, this guy is the that's our super good general, and we've left behind this guy. We should probably move some of these guys in, because I think we're going to have the some Romans are going to turn up soon and probably try and create a bit of a Barney. Right. Okay, right, so we need to go down here.
Should have a big defence on our hands soon.
Yes, we should. So
We can bring the fight to them on the east.
Move out. Mighty general. Sire, forward.
right.
Mighty general. Mighty general.
I think we probably should just leave one of them there, just in case. I've got a feeling that most of those Romans will be completely useless, but just in case.
Do you find that you get a bit back after developing phone games for a while?
Yeah, I
leaning over sort of thing.
I find it's a bit tricky, especially with all the. Well, in this case, I'm looking down and looking up, looking down, so it's kind of, you've probably seen them more at the top of my head than everything else. Right, so let's move that guy there so that this. Yeah, the old tactic of make sure you.
The choke point.
Yeah, choke point. Always with the choke point, right.
I kill to please you.
And an assassin.
Death approaches.
Yeah, okay, I don't mind. So, 16% success rate, that's not exactly,
It's not great. So did we get the original cutscenes as well?
Yes.
Death stalks him.
Uh-oh.
Right.
My liege.
Yeah, that didn't work. Right. Let's see what's going to kick off.
Yeah, that's very, very slowly moving up. I feel like they're just holding that road.
Yeah. Yeah, so it probably thinks we're not doing very well, so we should cheat. But I think with the best part of like 20 million in the bank, I think we'll be fine.
Seems like a fair enough lump sum cash.
Yeah.
My liege.
Ironically, I think we've had something similar in Three Kingdoms, when it you can tell if you're finding the campaign a little bit easier, a little bit hard, and it sort of suggests adjusting your difficulty settings.
Yes.
So it's kind of a similar thing.
Yeah. I think we find if you're making kind of slow progress, it'll randomly let you know once. I think a lot of the things with the pop-up of the advisor is just letting people know that features exist, because we get a lot of people going, it'd be great, but does it have Roam Shell?
Yeah.
So we had something pop up of like, yeah, Roam Shell is there. Right. Those, I think they're just cowering. We're going to have to go over and give them a smack in a bit, I think. Right. So is there any settlements down here? I can't remember if there's one.
Should be one on that little outcrop, shouldn't
Yeah.
there, I think.
March! Sire! Move out! Out of moves, great lord.
Yeah, there he is. And he was hiding in that fog of war.
My liege!
Could probably
Awaiting your command.
hoover that up, actually, that Campus Samate.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Engage the enemy! Besieging settlements here.
There's no point in having such a simple.
Give us a little bit more land.
Yeah.
Now that we've appeased the chat's
Yes.
thirst for blood.
Yeah.
This land is ours.
Probably enslave, I would have thought.
That seems like the barbarian way.
Yeah. So as you can see here, we've got you get the extra info above your settlement. But if I tap and hold here now, we've got all of them.
Losing quite a lot of cash from Campus Roxolani. Not that it matters right now, but
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should probably be fine with the cash on that one. Right. So let's just have a quick flick through the.
Mifo's asking if we'll be streaming any more 3K before launch. So we've got our South South campaign part 3 coming up tomorrow. So join us for that, so 3 PM BST. And then on the 13th of May, which I believe is next Monday. Next Monday we will be back with the daily streams, as we're a fortnight before launch. So that's going to be exciting. So join us for that, and we'll see you then.
Yep. Looking forward to that. I've been watching that myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Favourite campaign so far?
I don't know. I tend to just want to go through all of them because they're all very kind of like varied and different. So it's kind of a, I wouldn't mind doing a little bit of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool with the little the Romance of the Kingdoms and everything. Anyway, back to just smashing our way around. Oh, Rebels have come out. So that's the Eastern Empire Rebels and the Western Empire Rebels.
No, both.
Yeah. So luckily we're attacking the Eastern Empire, not the Western Empire. So
Skippy ITV saying, "Oh, it's the game who got me my nickname."
yes. Yep, our assassin didn't make it.
That didn't work. The old 16% was a bit of a gamble.
Yep. Here we go. So you can just quickly jump to that city by pressing the info button. And then we can have a look at what you want to do with the construction queue. So here we have a nice little list of what can be upgraded where. If you put your finger over stuff, it will show you on the left hand side what the upgrades are. So what we probably need to do is, as you can see here, it all stacks up. And we can also recruit. So I think we'll probably hold off recruiting till you can. So again, one of these things it isn't as important right now, but we have it down here so you can just flick through all the different all your different settlements while you're actually in the build mode.
Yeah.
So late in the game, you're constantly wanting to go through and recruit in different areas. And one of the things we want to avoid on the phone is going in and out of screens the whole time. So
exactly.
again, just quickly popping through between all the different areas. Again, here, if you put your finger, so official religion is paganism. No signs of dissent or anything. If we can change to here, again, it's all looking good. Public order is pretty high. Public order here is 155%. I think that's probably because
Well, the dissenters have left for the rebellion, I'm guessing.
yeah, well, I think we pretty much killed most people, so it does help with removing dissent. So again, we can do that with digging in, and you can jump through all your different units. So I think this guy would probably just want to.
Yes, mighty lord. At once. Out of moves, sir. My liege.
Yeah, Skippy Ice, we're showing off the Barbarian Invasion expansion for Rome Total War on iPad and iPhone. The iPhone release is coming this Thursday, which is why we're showing it off for you today. And on Android, it'll be available this June. And of course, if you haven't already, you can play the base game right now on both Google Play and the App Store on iPhone.
Right, I think.
My ears are yours.
Just spy.
Sire, mighty general. Awaiting your command.
So you can quickly flick through. I think everybody's used up their movement points, so let's just end turn.
Oh, running away. I think we had to use that spy to have a look at what's going down on that sort of southeast.
Yeah, it's a good call. So we can.
My ears are yours. None shall see me out of
Yeah, they're running away. It's,
out of moves, sire.
Wait for me to join. There is still a Tabletop Tuesdays at 8, but it's kicking off at 4 PM, so you are early. So we'll be starting in about 2 hours.
Yep. Think.
I don't think you can be the Skippy Eyes in this because it's split into Eastern and Western Roman Empire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think it's just the base game. Just got Huns, Goths, Vandals, Celts. Thought I'd check for you. I was pretty sure that it's just the base game. Yep.
Yeah.
Right, so you sent those guys down. Let's
Orders. Sire, move out.
Ah, not logged in. Trying to do my
Out of moves.
BoJack Horseman reference in the comments there was you. Basically, Count Capulet said, "Wow, Feral Interactive and CA in one stream." I was like, "What is this? A crossover episode?" Oh, we got some new contenders up there.
yeah, we do. We're starting a bit of a
Attack.
Who are we up against this time? It's more rebels.
So I think there were a few battle questions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's reminding me to drink.
The stay
water.
hydrated bottle. We don't. I don't think. I'm not entirely sure how this thing works.
They
But it does just sort of appear in your
They
chat
must
every now and
know
again.
They only have moments left to live. Await my orders.
Yeah, we need to get a big battle going at some point so we can show off your tactics.
Yes. So that's
Horse archers. Horse archers. Cavalry.
so we got
So you're setting your groups up at the moment now?
Yeah, so just makes it a little bit easier. So again, this is quite useful if you just want to, you can just quickly flick up. So if you want to look at a little bit closer detail, it's probably quite easy on the stream because it's all nice and big. But again, it's just a handy thing when you're looking through and trying to work out who to select and who not to. So this button on the right hand side is really useful as well, as you can select all and select none. Let's just. Those guys, and that's one more group. And then. Right, okay, so we've got everybody in basic groups. Right, so let's deselect, and where are they? Wow, this is going to be quite a simple battle.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance yet to go up against some worthy opponents.
Let's just speed it up and see if they actually start to.
Doofmaster's saying he's quite interested to see how the animations look.
Okay, that's. Right, let's go in with cavalry. So if you have a look here, that's the special feature. So you can see the.
We've got the speed cranked up there, just in case anyone's wondering.
Yep, there we go.
So Fluffy Bunny's asking if there's an arcade mode. We kind of have sort of engineered our own one by using the roam shell, as we were just talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there's the game has the like arcade battle feature where you don't have they won't get scared, units won't get scared and run away and things like that. So it disables a few of the more like realistic modes. So yeah, there's the same as the original. Yeah. That's it, Fluffy Bunny. Yeah, so that's in there. Sometimes it's kind of fun to do that, especially if you're slightly, if you're definitely going to lose the battle, but you want to cause maximum damage.
Yeah.
If you play arcade battles, then you can at least go and suicide everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if you have that turned off, then they'll just all run away quite naturally.
Cowards.
Right. Enough of yeah. Enough of this. Too much talking, not enough paying attention. They all got shot.
Yeah, we've given them enough of a chance now. It's time to move the whole army in and clean them up, I reckon.
Yep. So you can do, like, if you put people into groups, you can then do stuff like select different formations, or put them under AI control, or take them out of a group. So all of the original game features are there, plus a few extra ones are here. You can actually see the paths, which again is something which sort of exists on the original one with the spacebar, but we've kind of expanded on it and just made it sort of a little bit more accurate. So you can see here the guys aren't within shooting range yet, but they will be soon. So then it's an easy way of being able to tell, actually there's no point in my archers are too far out. So sometimes you can end up on the original roam, or on BI. You can end up with that weird thing where you're like, are my archers actually in range or not? So again, the range marker is super handy.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you sort of take for granted, the new ones that went around when we first kicked off.
Right, so nice and simple win. Lost a few more units than we really should.
Yeah. It's fine, we've shown off those nice animations.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we showed off, like, you do have the ability. I think I saw a question much earlier on asking whether or not you can use special abilities and sort of melee attack, and all of the buttons along the bottom are the same buttons and icons as the original game, so you can have tell people to go into secondary melee, and you can also tell them to use like special mode, where, for example, some of those cavalry have got the encircle feature.
Yeah. Unnamed saying, is this playable on mobile phones? We're doing it right now.
Yep, this is a phone.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to lift it high enough, but we should probably just show them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just
yeah, we're actually playing on an iPhone right now.
Yep.
So it's also available on Android, and as we said a few times now, the base game is available right now on both stores.
Yep.
And this is the Barbarian Invasion, which is coming out on this Thursday, 9th of May, and Android in June.
Yeah. So this the Barbarian Invasion is slightly cheaper than the base game, so it's only a $5 in the UK, and sort of equivalent around the world.
And it runs on its own as well, right? You don't need to grab the original. So if you did just want Barbarian Invasion, you can just grab Barbarian Invasion.
You can buy it and play it separately. And obviously it's got all the those 8 new factions that weren't playable in the original. So if you want a bit of a challenge, you can try and play as the Romano British.
Yeah, and you get a slightly different start position as
well.
Yes,
you do, exactly, and slightly different date and things like that. So there's definitely a lot of... You can do a lot of commutes or sat on a lazy Sunday afternoon playing it on the on your sofa. Yeah. I know I've spent many a weekend playing it on the sofa.
Or big long haul flights, maybe.
Yeah. I was on a long haul flight last week, and it was just sit there playing it, slowly going across. You can flying all the way to the west coast. You can pretty much get through an entire campaign.
Yeah.
It's quite fun.
Yeah, we had one of those magical coincidences on an E3 trip once, where we had a three seat bank with myself and Tom on either side, and then a gap in the middle. So we just had that perfect armrest to put your mouse so you can play your laptop games on, which was perfect.
Right, I think.
Yes, mighty lord.
Let's move him. Just.
And if anyone's wondering why we have millions and millions of gold in the bank, we've been using Roam Shell as well.
Yes, we demonstrated that you can use Roam Shell to cheat, and we added a few
gold.
Yes, we added a few extra ones in.
It's all kicked off. So we've got our forces and the I can't actually remember which faction it was, but the blue faction that we were coming up against.
Yep.
And now the Sassanids have turned up, and I think the Eastern Roman Empire as well.
Yeah, it's all going to get a little bit crazy soon.
So Zitox says, is it hard to play on a phone? So that's one of the sort of largest things that you focused on, is making it as user-friendly as possible.
Actually, that's not exactly what I wanted to do. So I'd say no. I think it's got all the features of the original game. You just got to spend sort of a little bit learning where things are. So we spent a lot of time trying to make it so, for example, controlling the map. If you know how to control Google Maps, you know how to control the pinch and zoom and everything. So a lot of it is fairly intuitive. So I'd say if you've played Rome Total War or BI a lot, then no. I think the biggest thing you'll be learning is the gestures for, let's say, if you take 2 fingers and you hold them down and they get a glow, then that's how you lay out your troops, holding your finger and drawing in a circle for selecting them. So it's basically just nailing down how to do those kind of things and just knowing what your shortcuts are, because I know after hundreds of hours of playing Rome Total War, my brain automatically jumps to all the right keys. And basically, you just need to play the same so that your brain automatically jumps to the right gesture. So I think early on, it'll mostly be, I used to do this with an F key to bind a group, and now I just need to hit the bind group button. And also just play around with the camera settings, I think, is the other one. We found a lot of some people want inverted tilt, some people don't want tilt on, some people do want tilt on. So I think that's one of the things we found with BI, is we've added even more just little tiny options for, based on feedback from like you guys in streams, and also just from reviews and emails in of like, I wish you could have this camera control
Yeah.
or this way of doing things. So we've thought a lot about trying to make it so it's kind of as easy as possible to play, while not removing a single feature. In fact, we've kind of sort of enhanced a few.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more complicated than any other mobile phone game, but I kind of think that's a good thing, because if you want to play Total War, you want to play Total War.
Yeah, you don't want to play a shit down.
Yeah, I don't want to play sort of like a mini Total War.
Yeah.
Right, so I think we probably need to go and recruit some units, because I think people will be coming. And we can probably go to... Let's go into this queue. Add that. Let's get a few of these guys just to... And then we can probably show off... so you can just go... Process... Oh. If I can... Show right here. And then you go... RQ... All.
Splitting the troops.
There you go. And then you go... Actually, we can just press... And I think... I can't remember which one it was. I think it's... Process RQ didn't work in the final retail version of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
It was disabled. So it worked in one of the early versions, but they turned it off. So both of them now work. So it's an interesting thing. There's loads of other little cheats, but I think that should over here now. If we go, we've got a full stack. We've also got a guy outside.
Yeah, Kuda Marbuk. Where's he come from?
So he was coming down, but we now have... no, let's not put him there. Let's move this guy. Okay.
Oh, you learn something new every day. Did you catch
So he's a spy, right? Let's see if we can work out what's going on here. Let's see if we can just chase that guy off. Actually, no, that's a diplomat. It looks like, is it? Yeah, it is. But over here...
Yes, we had about 3 different factions all turn up at once, which is quite interesting.
Wow. I think we should just... It's a relatively decent army, but nothing we should get too freaked out over, I don't think.
We've got quite a strong force up there.
Yeah. Real question is, let's get over there. Right, that's defended enough now.
Orders. Orders.
I was sure there was a settlement down here.
We could use it as a little springboard to go across the sea, maybe.
Yeah, we'll need a...
Get a port action going
Need
somewhere.
to get a port going. Let's head back up here and see if we can... I think we built a port here. Let's go and see if we can build a port. Or if we already built one. Actually, let's go. Nope. Can we build a port?
I'm not sure if you're close enough to the coast, actually.
Maybe not. Let's just stack defending this place, because I've got a feeling everything's going to kick off soon.
Fluffy Bunny's saying that there was definitely a settlement in Crimea in the base game, but not sure about Barbarian Invasion. Maybe it was...
Yeah, maybe
there are slight map differences, aren't there?
Yes.
Between the 2 versions.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, maybe I'm... Right, so let's select our captain. Get him to go.
Cloffy619, first time watcher. Hello, how's it going? So, if you've never been on this channel before, this is a bit of a one-off stream actually, where we're looking at, we're teaming up with our friends at Feral to show off the mobile version of Barbarian Invasion. But we'll also have Tabletop Tuesday going on later, where we'll be playing Crystal Clans from Paddock Games. And then tomorrow, we are playing some more Cao on Total War 3 Kingdoms. So that'll be a very, very good one to come in. If it's your first time watching Total War Live, then definitely join us tomorrow.
Yep.
Now that's a fight.
Yep. Ooh. Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Gabriella's asking how the battery saver mode actually works. Is it sort of going to decrease the graphical quality?
Yes. So what it does is it turns down the graphical quality, and on some of the higher end phones, it'll cap your frame rate at 30 instead of 60, and that should help sort of stretch your battery life out a little bit more.
Yeah, it is coming to Android. So the one that we're playing right now is on iOS and will be available on Thursday. But as you said, be available on Android this June.
Yep.
Got a couple of 3K questions now. Fluffy just saying that he loves the videos. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow. Will Lubu be playable day one? Yes, he will. You just have to unlock the Dong Draw faction. And yeah, here we go. The first big battle. This is the first one that's been a real challenge.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be probably a defeat, but I think it's more of a try and inflict as much damage as possible. While yeah, this was just meant to be a choke point team, so I don't think we're so if we go and put it into here, then I can show you how to do so I decide to so I'm going to do different
so no pressure here, but this is your first big battle. But, you know, we're going to expecting some big tactics here.
So let's let's select. Oop, didn't want to do that. Questions. Yeah, we basically probably want to put the spears together in a new group.
Zitox is asking how we're streaming a mobile game. We've got like a very, very small capture card hooked up right now.
Yeah, so you just output it through an HDMI cable and it works kind of like a really tiny PC.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting. Where are we gonna do these?
Stream tomorrow will be 3 Kingdoms. That's right. Yeah, we're finishing off our Telltale campaign before we hit the daily streams on the 13th of May.
Let's select all of these guys.
Got a pretty solid spear wall. We might be able to use our cavalry advantage here. I didn't actually see what the other army composition was.
Yeah, not too sure what to do. Sort of let's select nobody and select these guys. Right, let's just get on with it.
I will be playing tomorrow, Coffee. Yeah. So it looks like they've got their own little cavalry contingent, but they've got definitely a smaller amount than you have.
Right, there we go. So yeah, one thing which I did mention, didn't mention earlier, was basically if you go and put stuff near the edge, all the UI disappears, so you get more space to do things. Right. What are they doing? There's a cavalry going round. They got a lot of cavalry.
Have they got any ranged?
I couldn't tell.
I don't think they have many ranged units, so you might actually just be able to skirmish them out a little bit.
Guess we will see. So you put them in a line. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's your right flank where they're hitting you. I think it's going to take them a little while for the main force to get over.
Yeah, the question is do we just go and send the cavalry in to go and...
I think you've got that battle, and if you can take down some of their forces before it kicks off.
Yeah, I think so. I think the real question is to go and try and get rid of some of their cavalry before the rest of them come, and then they hold the line. We should be okay.
So you said the price is $4.99 for this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's the same on iPhone and Android.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it's available on Android in the June, you'll be able to grab it for $4.99, and that's going to work independently from the main game as well. So you don't have to buy the base game before you buy this one. So I'm saying 89. I think that's the base game is that price, isn't it? It's the
yes, yeah. So that's Rome base game is it's basically like I think like $9.99 or.
Yeah, Edmund's one of the developers on the mobile versions.
Yeah. So we took the quite frankly awesome original desktop game and then spent a few years making the mobile version. So it was all about sort of adding in the all of the extra features that you need. Let's just try and. Yeah, this is.
Should be able to surround them quite easily now, actually.
Yeah, we're.
Here comes the main force, though. That's the issue. Although it looks like they're just sort of rabble, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean we're holding the line. I mean I've got a feeling even if we just cause massive damage here.
To see how well that spear wall holds.
I mean, it's holding.
You should be able to wrap around on your left side, actually.
Yeah. Well, those guys are legging it, so we can probably come back and try and smash in.
You can auto-resolve on this stuff, yeah. So
yeah.
If you're not as keen on the battles, you just want to hit the campaign side, then you can do the auto-resolves.
Yeah, well, I mean, we started with no chance of winning, and the bar has moved.
Balance of power's creeping up, so
yeah.
I think their cavalry was probably one of the most dangerous parts of their army, and now that you've got a bit more of a cavalry supremacy, you should be able to do a bit of damage.
I mean, we're holding.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but we're starting to get a little bit of scattering. Just want to try and cause as much damage as possible. Yeah. Well, they did have open sort of 3 to 1, or 2.5 to 1, I think. So.
Yeah, trade and diplomacy, all that.
Yep.
Sort of grand campaign strategizing is still part of it. If you've never played the original Rome game, it's 2004, I think, that it originally came out.
Shipped out,
yeah, one of the original Total War games. I think it's the second in the series.
Yeah, there was Shogun, then Rome.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, Shogun Medieval 1.
Medieval 1, then
Rome 1. Yeah. So it's the third game in the series. But yeah, so all of the features that are available in the base Rome game are available in this as well, and then it's got a lot of quality of life improvements as well, a lot of bug fixes. You killed their general. Nice.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think it's going to change our the outcome, but
well, it's a decent bit of damage to do to them, though.
Yeah, but I mean the good thing is these guys were trying to get across the bridge to attack, so they're definitely going to be in a little bit more trouble now.
So Davey Pooh says, "What's the battery life usage like?" So, as we said, the The better the phone's, the more battery life you're going to get out of it. But we do have a battery saver option.
It does have a battery saver option, which cuts down on. I would say obviously, kind of if you want to go on battery saver mode, you can play for many hours. But even without battery saver mode, I've covered well over 2 on like an iPhone like this one. Once we get out of here, there's a handy little thing where it actually shows you your battery without having to drop out of the game. So let's just so what I'm planning on doing here is let's
they're pretty effective in melee, actually, those horse archers.
Shames himself and your people. No excuses can be made for fleeing like this.
so
A couple of units coming back, yeah.
actually let's just form into a line. I mean, the general idea I've got now is just to cause as much damage before I inevitably get killed. So we killed off all of those. There we go. So again, I mean, you've got like full tilt control, and as you can see, it's got the original draw distance and settings and everything. So let's see what's going on over here. I'll let those guys have a bit of a. Yeah, they're doing quite well. Let's go back and. So you can accept, you've got skirmish mode. So skirmish mode's currently on. Let's,
I forgot how speedy cavalry was from round 2.
So you can see they're just within shooting range, so they're just sat there piling away. So we're definitely going to lose, but I think we've inflicted a fair amount of damage, and having the cavalry run around at the end is a I mean, inevitably these guys are going to get a pounding, but I think we can slowly go around. So you can have a look at the
Units forward! Attack quickly!
So those guys are firing back.
So here you go.
Yeah.
So we can just melee attack, drag on them. Although I think they're pretty winded and knackered by this point.
So that's the full list of details on the unit there as well, yeah.
So as you can see, we still have a few arrows left, but we used up most of the. So the general idea of chasing after these guys is, if we have a quick look at the battle map, I just want to make sure that we keep the rest of their army far enough away that I can slowly inflict as much damage as possible till these guys will inevitably die. So even though these guys are retreating right now, it's just all about trying to cause as much damage as possible.
And
then,
them off the board.
yeah, and then I think we'll go and chase that one guy. If you notice, there's one unit just all on its own.
Yeah.
So chase these guys off the board.
Probably speed up, to be honest. Actually.
Units march!
So those guys are way over there. So I think we want to go the right round this way.
Especially with the cavalry, it gives you a nice idea of that sort of
Yeah.
nice
So
big
again,
sweeping
like being able
angles
to
you
use
can
your
draw.
fingers to
Yeah.
sweep round. And that just gives us a. As you can see, they're all loitering over there, so we might be able to go and cause a little bit of damage on these guys before we. Actually, let's speed up. So you can see it's color coded, so as soon as it goes blue, you know that they're going straight into attack. So if the unit you've selected is moves, they'll still follow them.
Yeah.
Whereas the green line is basically where you need to go. So here we go. I think we're firing. Have a look. The bow.
Our army has been soundly beaten, and even
Okay.
That's
now
it.
the enemy must be plotting fresh atrocities.
Cloffy, is 3 p.m. BST. The stream's kicking off tomorrow. Helgi90 says, "How big is the unit model?" So we've actually you've actually increased the unit size, the max unit size in this version as well.
Yeah, so it's basically the unit sizes. It depends on your phone. So if you've got like a really old phone, then you'll have the smaller unit sizes. So we give you essentially two options: the default, which we know that will perform great, and then you can go one up from there. So I think the highest end phones have about 240 units. Soldiers per unit, I guess, which is slightly higher than the official maximum on the original desktop release. So I think with modding you could get it up to I think 240 without it without things going wildly wrong, and basically we added that option in.
Yeah.
So what you do to go and set all of those the maximum unit sizes, if you go into your settings, like iOS settings on iOS, we actually have a Rome or a Barbarian section where there's a whole bunch of like special little edge case options that you might want, and one of them is double my unit size. So you can do that, and on Android we actually have like a little side feature in the pause menu where you bring it up and it gives you a whole bunch of like additional options. So we call it the advanced option screen, so you can go and double up your unit size. That will obviously hit your battery life a little bit more because there's a lot more going on. It'll also mean your performance might drop a little bit if you're trying to push it a little bit too hard. Barbarians, we are quite rich right now because we roam shelled earlier on, David Pooh.
That's another thing that's had a few little tweaks as well, sort of opening up old codes that weren't working and stuff like that.
So as you can see, we've dropped down about 10% in battery since we started. So I don't know how long. What time is it? We've got about half an hour left. So that's not going too bad. So if anybody wants to know about the, let's just do that. You go into the pause menu and options. You got battery saver mode here. So if I flick it on, I think a Samsung S6 is a little bit too old for this official support. So I'll have to go and double check for BI. But I know that sort of 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all fine.
Yeah. So as we said earlier, the battery saver mode will drop your graphical settings, and then if you're on one of the more recent phones, you can also cap your frame rate.
Yeah, it also caps your frame rate. Again, just to save battery. So I mean, this game on the newer phones will be running at settings at or above what the desktop was running at actually a higher res than most desktops, because most phones these days are 1080p or higher. So it will make your phone feel a little bit warm at times if you're playing for quite a few years. But I mean, the real big advantage of this Total War game is that you can take it with you in your pocket. So I'm sure sort of playing on a nice big 22-inch screen like the ones we got in front of us is awesome. But if you're if you're on a plane, on the train, or even just sat on your sofa, you can't go and drag your gaming PC in.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice of just being able to sit there and like have the full experience while sort of just being able to wander out.
And as we said, it's if the phone is a little bit too small for you, it's available on iPad, and it's actually available right now. So you can grab Barbarian Invasion as we speak from for your iPad right now.
Yeah, and it does both Android and iOS have got save game syncing.
Yeah.
So if you happen to have owned it on an iPad and then load it up on an iPhone, it'll copy your save game across. You can even actually, if you grab a desktop save, you can chuck it on like an original old school desktop save. It'll update it to the new.
Oh really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you can grab like a campaign you never finished 5 years ago.
Yeah, you can grab an old campaign and sync it across. The other advantage is if you run out of space on your phone, you delete the game from your phone. I mean, why would you ever do that? But if you did, you can, when you reload it, it'll just pull down your save game. So it's that great thing of sort of, I find it really annoying if you've got a mobile game and you get a new phone or something and then suddenly all of your progress and everything's all gone.
Yeah.
As long as you've turned on like the Google Drive on Android or on Mac, it's the cloud drive.
Yeah.
As long as you sort of agreed to that when you launch, that's fine, and it'll just pop up and sync as when you load in. And if you're playing on two different devices, it'll actually pop up and say you've got a newer version of the save in the cloud. Do you want to use those ones? You hit yes, and it'll sync it. So it works just like how Steam Sync works and everything else. So that's what I find a really handy thing. I've got save games on my own phone, which we were playing earlier, and I'm 100 and something hours in, and I regularly flip between the iPad and the phone, or sometimes a test phone, and it just appears. It's only a small thing, but it's super handy when you get it, especially if you've got an iPad or you want to grab your old Windows save and load it up and move it across.
Yeah, and as you said, that tablet version available right now, so go and grab it. Or if you just want to play the base game, that's available on all platforms as well.
Wow, these guys are...
Yeah, there's quite a few of them, isn't there?
I think we need to look at putting a few more units in the queue ASAP. She should probably have done it here as well. So another little thing which it does remember to do is you got your previous commands in there. So let's...
So Gabriella's saying we've got diplomatic relations and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so anything that was available in the base game still available on the mobile version as well.
So I think
complete with quality of life improvements.
Yeah, so we have all of the diplomacy and other features. We did have a spy earlier, an assassin earlier, but he got killed. And we do have a spy down here. So actually, I need to move Diggs back this way. But we have there's our spy. Yeah, these are pretty...
Lots of force archers as well.
Orders? Forward. Engage the enemy.
They've got a lot of reinforcements. So I guess, do we want to...
Well, we're getting quite close to the end now.
Yeah, we are
go
getting...
out on a bang, or...
So there we go.
Ah, there's your low battery.
There's the low battery. So you get the low battery warning. So what we can do is... Actually, if I just... average victory. There we go. At least that's...
Split them up.
Split them up a bit.
Yeah.
So what we can do is I can So there we go. So we can go into battery saver and we can show you what that looks like. Return to game. As you can see, there's very little difference. You might notice that the scroll feels maybe a little bit less smooth.
Yeah.
But basically, this device normally runs at 60 frames a second locked, and it now just drops down to 30 frames a second locked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you can, if you tap in the corner, you can view what's going on with your battery as you go, which is really quite handy. It was one of those little things that we found people constantly using either on Android or iOS, flicking down to see what your battery is.
Accidentally trigger something as well.
Yep, you can fight in forts. If things go badly, they will be attacking our fort pretty soon.
Yeah.
Fire! Engage the enemy. Moves depleted, mighty lord.
Fluffy Bunny says we need to get some Tutwar branded power banks for the
Yeah,
for the
we
big
should.
old long campaigns.
Yes. But I mean, we've been streaming for almost 2 hours, and we've used about 12, 14%.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does depend on your device, and sort of the health of your battery. I find sort of if your phone's 4 years old, you're going to get less charge than if it's brand new. But yeah, the battery saver makes a big difference, especially on the new devices. It can almost double your battery life, because halving the frame rate, or on the iPads going from 120 frames a second down to can make a really big difference. But the iPad battery's huge anyway, so you can play for a long time.
Feeling confident?
Well, I think if we go for another time waster, that's probably going to be the last 20 minutes. So should we? Do we want to do that, or do we want to try and auto complete this one and see if they attack the fort?
Yeah, don't mind. Whatever you fancy. I'll give Tom a message now, so he can come in and be ready to see us out.
Right, let's auto complete that on the hope that they maybe will come and attack our fort.
Yeah, it'd be good to get a little siege action.
We can get a bit of siege action going before the end. Yeah, I think that's gonna happen soon. Let's just auto-complete all that. Come on. Please. Trade offer. Trade rights.
Western Roman Empire want an alliance.
Hey.
Might as well.
There we go. Won't say no to that.
You can see when you get right zoomed in, you can see some of the texture drops from the battery saver as well.
So I tend to use this quite a lot to move around, and you can work out where you are on the map. Right. So let's just end turn and see if we can sucker them into attacking our fort.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm happy enough with trade rights, but isn't someone going to attack the fort?
The Romans are running off now.
I'm surprised.
They've got cold feet. I think they've seen your full stack army.
Yeah, maybe. I think we're just going to have to end up having...
Oh, that looks like a pretty good matchup. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do this and see how far we get before the end of the end of the stream. Right. So now I guess if there's any other Barbarian questions floating through.
We will leave many dead in this place. So bite the shield rim, grasp the spear,
ask away.
Scream your hate.
No, we're not streaming for 24 hours today, so no, that would be...
Yeah, we would be able to complete a full campaign just about in possibly in that amount of time. It kind of depends if you decide to go and do 3 battle your way across. 24 hours definitely isn't enough. But Right, let's start deployment.
Await my orders.
Okay, so this is a really weirdly balanced bunch of
Yeah, a lot of cav going on here. Zitox, we are going to be doing an all-day stream, so from the morning to the evening, but I don't think we'll be doing the full 24 hours. We'll have to see what happens closer to launch.
Cavalry. Form up, warlord. Warlord. Cavalry. Barbarian cavalry. Cavalry.
and then let's
Units, loose formation. Units, tight formation. Units, single line.
put those in let's
Tight formation. Units,
single line as well, and then
So Davey Pooh's asking when Three Kingdoms Mobile is going to be available. So
I think
so
we just need to wait for technology to catch up a little bit.
It was 15 years for Rome 1, so let's we'll meet you back at what 2045 or something.
Yeah, got plenty more to do. Right, okay, so everybody's in a group. Let's start the battle.
The enemy have proved their cowardice. They have reinforcements, as if numbers mattered.
Right, so that's
So those are horse archers, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
So we'll have to.
so I think the general idea on this one is I'm going to try and split us up into over here. You crazy. Ooh. Where do we want to get these guys to?
Have you got any ground forces at all?
No.
It's all cav.
It's pretty much all cav.
Oh my god. It's the true Hun way.
Let's head round with those guys.
they're attacking us. Units, advance. Units,
Right. Right. I always like the
Battle music's great.
right. Let's just go and mess that up.
Hey Frost Kaiser, we are going to be playing Cao Cao again tomorrow. It's going to be part 3 of our campaign. So join us at 3 PM BST for that, which is British summertime. It's GMT +1.
move out. Units, move out.
Firstly, I apologise to going all quiet, but it's trying to.
There's a lot of weight on your shoulders right now.
I'm actually trying a little bit more than previous to. I find if you.
Nice.
The general was a fool. He sacrificed himself rather than leading his men
Yeah,
to a
so-
dignified defeat.
So balance of power is starting to push in your favour now.
Yeah, it's what you always learn. It's like I accidentally forgot about one of my groups for a second, and they just got killed. So it's all about actually using like half speed, micromanagement, which is the same as the same as the desktop version. It's all about trying to work out who you can. Okay, those guys are going there. Those guys are running. So yeah, the general idea is which seems to be working, is to kind of split them up and then just divide and conquer, and then just have overwhelming amount of troops to smash into a couple of units, kill them, and then move on. Which is kind
of having all the manoeuvrability of that cav. Isn't
yeah,
it? So you can just split them all around the place.
This has actually worked slightly, so far slightly better than I was expecting. It's just all about making sure I don't. Oh, actually.
Chase them off the board.
So yeah, these guys are legging it.
Freezoid was about to ask what's up with the graphics, and he realised it was Rome 1, not Rome 2.
Yeah. One day. Right. Let's see what's going on here.
It's all nice and peaceful over here. Everyone's just chilling.
Cavalry.
Alright, so let's get these guys back into nice little formation again. So let's just kill those guys quickly. Yeah, those guys are all. So you can see you can just quickly group into different units. I've just flipped from having 3 groups to 2 because I think these guys can probably all group together and take these guys out. And then let's jump over to these guys. Okay, we've got rid of those guys. Let's jump back over this side of the map. So that they've got a group here who are slightly more wisely not letting themselves get exposed.
Yeah.
But there is a bunch of guys over here who kind of got themselves isolated. Yeah, that isn't going to last long, is it? Right. Jump back over here. Yeah, this is definitely causing a... Those guys legged it.
That's most of their forces gone now, isn't that?
I think we're looking pretty good. There's a bunch hiding over there. But we're, if you look at the balance of power,
Yeah.
enemies killed 76%,
Nice.
25%. So, yeah, I mean, I think this has actually been a fairly good example of if you get all your tactics, you use your grouping and everything, you can actually have a fairly tricky 3D battle, which, you know, if we'd AI completed, we would have definitely lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we're on course to win, and it's
Yeah.
all about sort of, again, if I go quiet, stop trying to explain everything. You can actually select groups, and you can quickly flip people into groups, jump
Yeah.
around the map, things like that. So yeah, it's let's see what we can. What isolated units do we have left?
Well, I think whilst you're sweeping up the rest of their forces, that's a good opportunity to say thank you to everyone who joined us today to have a little watch. If you are interested, this is Rome Total War, Barbarian Invasion, now available on iPad, but also coming out very, very soon, on Thursday, in fact, 9th of May, to iPhone, and in June it will also be available on Android. If you want to grab the base game on any of those platforms, it's also available right now. I've been Wheels. I've been joined by the lovely Edwin from Feral Interactive, who's been showing us around his project.
Yep.
And yeah, it's been very, very interesting and very, very cool to see all the quality of life improvements and stuff like that. So if you have been itching to get back to the Roman Empire, dust off some of those old strategic maneuvers that you've been waiting to try out again, then it's available right now on iPad, as I said, and it will be available soon on those mobile platforms. So thanks very much for watching, everyone. I've been Wheels, this has been Edwin, and
Yep.
this has been Total War Live, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Okay. See you all later, and yeah, you can play on Thursday. That's it.
King is slain! This news will run like wildfire through the enemy and bring despair.
Units, loose formation. Relay. Relay.
The enemy cowards run!